Everybody, I am live from Miami. It's 6:30 in the morning, and I wanted to talk to you about something that very few people will talk to you about on LinkedIn because it's not a hack, it's not a secret tactic, but it will help you get more success. You see, I've been doing this whole LinkedIn social selling thing for so long, and I say to people, most of the time, if you're not getting results from LinkedIn, it has zero to do with LinkedIn. It has nothing to do with the tactics you're employing. It's the way you are thinking about the platform that's creating this roadblock that seems like it just doesn't work for you. There's a gap in your thinking, yeah, and many of you know this, right? So I'm not teaching you anything new, but you've never seen this applied to LinkedIn in this way before. Your thinking is blinding you to what you're doing wrong. And so no amount of buying another course, no amount of trying and discovering another secret tactic is going to fix a thinking problem. So I want to map out and share with you the 5 kind of mindsets that stop people getting success. So I've just enabled my AI camera, which means if I move right now, it's going to fly all over everywhere. So let me just turn that off. Right, so I'm going to talk to you about the 5 mindset issues that literally infect your activity on LinkedIn. So the thinking moves down your arm, into your hands, into your typing, into your posting, into your profile, into your messaging, and screws it up. And if you deal with these things up here, the actions change. You can do the same actions you were doing, same actions, and you'll get different results. So I'm going to share them with you and walk you through them. And you might see yourself having 1 or 2 of these. You might see yourself having all of them, but you only need 1 of them to actually mess it up. So the first big one is a transactional mindset. Now, what do I mean by this transactional mindset? It means actually what you do is you treat people as just numbers. Now, there is an element of business is a numbers game, and you have to track your numbers and know your conversion rate and all that kind of stuff. But success on LinkedIn is actually about you resonating with individual people. And so when you start to see the LinkedIn ecosystem as just numbers of people, you start to treat them as numbers of people. Profiles are people. And the best approach, the best thing you can do when you think about LinkedIn is don't think about it like a platform. Don't think about it like anything else. It's a room full of people. And I would always sense check your activity and go, would I do this to a person face to face? If you wouldn't, you don't do it. It's also good if you sense check your posts, your messages, read them out loud and go, would I say this like this in a conversation? For you to actually get leads and clients, you've got to be relevant, you've got to be human, and they've got to have a connection with you. They've got to feel like they can gel with you. So this transaction approach starts you playing a numbers game, but at the cost of individual people. And I've shared with you before, when I do my outreach on LinkedIn, I go super specific, super personal, because it converts way better than me using a copy and paste or even AI tools to actually get a personalized message. Me actually writing something for them specifically or putting a message together for them specifically outperforms AI. So this transactional mindset turns people into numbers, and then you start writing for numbers. And when that happens, you lose connection. You start sending messages basically going, hopefully one of these will come round. So that transaction pushes you into the wrong approach. It pushes you into doing things in the wrong way. I always say to sales teams, when I'm talking to sales teams, I say, look, before you start automating any kind of outreach, before you plug AI into your outreach engine, go do it manually. figure out what works, instinctively know what works, because if all you're going to do is plug AI into your LinkedIn, you're replaceable. You're not a salesperson. You're just a technician of a robot. So go human first, figure out what works, do the unscalable thing. You'd be surprised how often the unscalable thing of treating people like people becomes scalable. So that transaction mindset is a big one. It's a numbers game. And to some degree, it is a numbers game. But when that numbers game overrides people, you start to do generic, you start to lose focus, and people feel that. People can see it and they feel it. The next one is scarcity mindset. Now, this is crazy, right? Weirdly, the scarcity mindset, the fear that you might lose or there's not enough clients to go around, or all of that kind of stuff of thinking that there's not enough, will actually force you to go quite broad. So you think, well, I don't want to lose opportunity, a fear of losing opportunity. So you keep your options open. You keep your options broad. And I had a conversation with a client a year or so ago, and I said, who are you trying to help here? And they gave me a persona that was so big. And I said, that's way too big of a persona. The problems, even though you're solving the same problem, how it shows up at the smaller end of that persona versus the larger end of that persona is completely different. People will feel emotionally different about it at those two ends. So I said, why don't you just go for the top end where the higher value stuff is? And his immediate reaction was, but I don't want to lose out on those opportunities. And that fear of losing, missing out, that fear of there not being enough customers, and so you have to appeal and try and get everybody, is the reason why you're not getting leads. Because what happens is you try to please and deal with two diverse groups in a generic way. You try and appeal to multiple personas at once. Not in the sense of, I'm trying to sell to everybody, but it could be that you've got HR leaders and CEOs, same problem, but they'll feel it and express it and want to deal with it in a very different way. And so what happens is that fear of going that way means you try and bring these people along with you, and you end up with a group of people where you're kind of relevant, but not actually relevant to me. So you're in the ballpark, but the ballpark's pretty big. You're kind of in the range, so you end up being seen as more of a generalist when people want a specialist. So that fear that you might lose out, that there might not be enough, so you have to go bigger, is crazy. For most people, if their target market is between 10 and 20,000, because most people don't need tens of thousands of clients, some people only need like 20 clients a year and they've hit their target, or they've maxed out their business. If you've got an addressable market of 10 to 20,000 individuals, that's huge. That's huge. So that fear forces you to go broader, and then you end up not resonating, coming across as kind of, oh, I see you understand that problem, but not specifically my problem. And then you lose out. So it forces you to go generic. Actually, in one sense, the transactional approach, just going, it's a numbers game, weirdly, you get the same result from trying to appeal to more broadly, because now you're not resonating with people. Now, the third one you're not going to like, particularly if you're very good at what you do. It's an entitlement mindset, right? And we all get this to varying degrees. I'm good at what I do, therefore, people should pay attention to me. I'm good at what I do, so I should get clients wanting to work with me. We confuse expertise and experience with positioning. And if you think about, maybe if this was your first experience, or you're relatively new to using LinkedIn as a business development channel, you've had the benefit of wherever you've got leads from previously of being positioned well. In other words, you've got a network around you, you've got contacts, you've got a track record that people are aware of, you've got a history, you've got achievements that people know about. You step into the LinkedIn world, all of that positioning you had somewhere else, whether that be, positioning with, referrers, positioning with large organizations you've worked with in the past, whatever that positioning is, when you come on to LinkedIn, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. It's like a blank slate. Many of the people on LinkedIn will never know you. You've got to extend that trust. You've got to build it. And so just thinking because you are good at what you do, because you have more experience than other people, means that you should get some kind of perk from that will keep you resenting other people with less experience doing better than you just because they're better at positioning themselves on LinkedIn. So don't confuse your experience, your track record with positioning. The reason you got so many referrals in that other world is because you were well positioned. On LinkedIn, you have to build that positioning. And if you have that entitlement mindset, you'll be going, well, I look at all this, what they've said about me over here. It should happen here too. No, you have to have positioning. And that is about your offer, your audience, your message, and your process. What are you doing to actually build that? You may have not built that intentionally in the other world, in your referral world, because actually you've built it over years, you've built that reputation over years, you've built those relationships over years. But in effect, you've built some positioning. On LinkedIn, it doesn't have to take years, but you have to be really intentional about how you want to position yourself on the platform. You have to really think it through because you're operating in a space where there's less attention on you. You're operating in a space where people move on much faster. So you have to be way more intentional. But the entitlement mindset basically means you think because, and don't feel bad about this. We all have it. You feel bad because actually I'm good at what I do. Why is this so hard? Actually, what you're doing is you're assuming that some of that credibility is going to transfer over, and very often it doesn't. Not when you're trying to build something up from scratch, particularly on LinkedIn. The fourth one is the short-term mindset. And I'll tell you a story about this one. I had a client and they approached to work with me, and we agreed a strategy of what they were going to do, exactly what we were going to do. And the client signed it all off. And then I discovered this client was a course whore. Now, they, over the last 5 years, had spent more than $100,000 on different courses. And I was like, oh no. This is what the short-term mindset looks like. And it comes from two things. One, it comes from dopamine addiction. And the other one is a fundamental misunderstanding of business. Actually, I'll add a third in, comparison. So what this client had done is burnt through $100,000 on different courses. But they'd got their dopamine payoff from buying the course, not from getting the result. Now, why is that a problem? Well, when you get a dopamine addiction you have to fulfill it. And so what happens is you have to have a sense of achievement. And because their dopamine addiction was so bad, they got into a place where actually they could fulfill their dopamine addiction by just buying another course. But when they started to implement, and let's face the reality, right? Let's just be honest for a moment. Implementation is the bit that everybody wants the result, but nobody wants to do the work, right? Work doesn't have to be hard, but I can tell you now, I've got a client at the moment, and I'm kicking their butt. They've got to do five outreach messages per day. 5, just 5. and it will take them less than 30 minutes, 5 outreach messages a day. I've got another client who's doing it. They're getting leads and clients like clockwork. But this client, 5 a day. I just don't feel like doing it. I just don't feel like doing it. And this is what happens, is that we want the dopamine addiction from just doing things. We want the payoff. And we have to change our addiction to the end payoff. Because business is process. Yeah, let's be grown up about it. Business is process. It's doing things over and over and over again in a repeatable format to actually build something. The payoff that we should be addicted to is the building. We're making progress. But what happens is, if you don't get an immediate payoff, a lead straight away from doing one message, people stop doing it. And it comes fundamentally from, we want instant gratification, that dopamine payoff. And so the short-term mindset will basically go, I've posted, and I've posted consistently for a week, I got nothing, I'm not doing it again because I didn't get the payoff. It's a bit like, if you look at the way consumerism today, my grandparents and my parents, if they wanted a new piece of furniture, what would they do? They'd save up for months and months and months, get the money together, and then go to the shop and buy something. How do we do it now? Oh, we need it now. So we'll go to the shop, and if we don't have the money, we'll get some interest-free deal or whatever, or we'll put it on a credit card or whatever. So we have a human behavior that is, I want it and I want it now. And if it doesn't come now, I'm not going to be interested. I want it now. And that short-term mindset stops you building something that will last, because you will just go round and round and round and never actually build progress. Every strategy that I've implemented on LinkedIn, every single one will have some bumps in the road. Every single one, because I've got to figure it out and adapt to it and get used to it and fall into a routine. If I adopt that short-term, oh, this is too difficult, I'm moving on. Imagine if some of our famous entrepreneurs that we, idolize, your Steve Jobs and all of those kind of people, imagine if they'd have approached what they were doing with the mindset that some of us approach LinkedIn. Do you think these big companies, Elon Musk's a bit weird these days, but do you think Tesla and Apple and all these big companies would exist if people behaved, if they went, oh, this is difficult, I'm giving up? It wouldn't happen. So this mindset infects us, and it comes down to, we're conditioned for instant gratification and we're conditioned for short-termism. And if you look at the problems in our world today with conflicts and all that kind of stuff, it's short-termism and it's looking for instant gratification. You got to wean yourself off that. You got to think differently and go, yeah, I'm just after a quick hit of dopamine here, and just acknowledge it to yourself, because it's not just about LinkedIn. If that's in your life, it will show up everywhere. It will show up in all different places. And number 5, and this is one that actually I think social media companies kind of encourage. It's a validation mindset. That what you need is somebody to cheer you on. You need encouragement to keep going. Slightly different from the short-term one. The validation mindset goes, well, if people don't like what I do, if people don't, if I don't get approval, I'm not doing it. So for an example, if a post performs poorly, does it affect your mood? If your posts don't work out, if you don't get responses, does it affect your mood? Now, it kind of links to this short-term mindset and the instant gratification, but this is about, actually, I want people to validate what I'm saying, prove to me what I'm saying. But if you look at all of the great people, the big names again, they've all done something that for a period, significant period, didn't actually get that validation. It didn't. They had to battle against the odds. They had to just do the work. And so if you measure your success by how it makes you feel, validation, approval, that approval addiction, what you will end up doing is adjusting what you do to get more approval. So instead of you talking about in your content the problems that your clients and ideal clients have, which will actually help you get leads and clients, you shift to talking about things that will give you that approval. And I've seen people do this. I've got LinkedIn gurus in my feed, and they post about toxic workplaces because it's a perfect button to push if you want lively debate on LinkedIn. They don't do anything to do with toxic workplaces. Nothing. Why are they sharing it? Because it's a proven topic to push people's buttons. Now, does that help you build your brand a little bit? Well, it makes you more familiar and more aware. Does it help people resonate with you who could potentially buy from you? Not if you don't have something to do with toxic workplaces. So this is how you end up drifting to do things because it gives you a hit of validation. It gives you a hit of approval. And don't get me wrong, it feels awesome. I had a post this week that's gone berserk about my birthday, but also about my glow up from 24 to 44. And I had amazing hit of validation, approval, dopamine, all that kind of stuff. But if all I do is talk about stuff like that all day long, it's not going to help me build my expertise and help people see I can help them. So these 5 mindset issues are what's getting in your way. So don't go and buy more tactics until you've tackled these, whether it's the transactional mindset, that fear, that scarcity, that there's not enough clients, so you have to go broader, the entitlement that you feel that because you've built this positioning off the platform, it should automatically transfer. These are not comfortable things to acknowledge. But if you want to be successful, you have to look and go, start with me and work out. Don't start with why is the platform not working for me? I have to understand what I want to get out of it. Short-term mindset, that short-term thinking, if it doesn't work right now, I'm quitting it and doing something else. That kind of quick wins, chasing easy answers, instant gratification, and then that validation, getting your approval from your content performance, letting stuff like that affect your mood. These are not easy fixes, but they are in the way of you and getting success. And so if you want to actually get more success on LinkedIn, I highly, strongly encourage you to look at these mindsets and go, I need to sort myself out. And I know that might feel a bit woo-woo to some, but I've met salespeople who just have rocks in their way and they don't see it. They have big obstacles in their way and they just can't see it, and they just keep bashing up against it, running up against it, thinking that more effort will solve it, when actually there's a bigger thinking obstacle in their way. And that's the way they're approaching the issue is actually what's causing them to fail. It's causing them to struggle. So thank you for joining me today. I will try and get back into the hang of this. Time zones and all that kind of stuff are a little bit tricky. But have a good rest of your day. And look, if you're struggling with getting clients from LinkedIn, if you're struggling to get those leads, conversations, and clients, drop me a DM, just say the word win, and we'll have a chat, see where you're up to, see what's going on for you, recommend some paths and plans of what you can do. And, if there's a fit, we can work together. But 5 mindsets you want to sort out.